really, Todd, Lindsay, and Jordan, thanks for being on here. And the Patriot Award, let me start a little bit, but ESGR, Employer Support in the Guard and Reserve, is a Department of Defense program run by the military. And it was actually established in 1972. So it's been around a long, long time. Not even the active duty has an Employer Support Guard and Reserve, because active duty, they worked for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. We'll go to have a look at the statement of support later on, but there are 7 entities out there, 7 Guard and Reserve units that represent the clientele that we work with on ESGR. And it's really unique in that ESGR has been around for 45 years, and we foster a culture in which all employers support and value the employment and military service of the Guard and Reserve members, of which Jordan is one. So they're citizen warriors, but one of the things that we also say is that Jordan is serving, but Todd and Lindsay, you guys serve as well, because you're serving because you had a valuable employee leave for a mobilization, and someone has to pick up the slack. Someone has to do that. And we see that repeated time after time again when it comes across the Guard and Reserve. The Guard and Reserve makes up almost 50% of the entire military in the U.S. So it's just weekenders, part-time, going off to their weekly or their monthly drill status, going to their professional development schools, being deployed, whether on state active duty, like you were on the COVID and flooding and all that, and federal duty. My son is in the Guard, and he was deployed out to Washington, D.C. during the inauguration, so on a federal duty. So that's the Guard and Reserve. And, anyone in North Dakota, we're a small enough state that we know someone who has been deployed from the Guard and Reserve. Jordan, your mom was in the Guard, right? Yep. And she always liked to say, when I see a gal that's been in the Guard, they say, we wore combat boots, and don't mess with them. So, but anyway, thanks for that as well, too. So, but one of the things we want to get into is the award that you nominated for your dad. And Jeanette's going to pull up the screen here. And those are the 7 seals that you see there that represent the 7 entities of the Guard and Reserve. But the award, the Patriot Award, is for Todd, for your dad. And basically it says for contributing to national security and protecting liberty and freedom by supporting employee participation in America's National Guard and Reserve forces. This is one of the first awards that we give to employers. The award is actually given to an individual, in this case to your boss, to your dad. And what an honor to this. I think it's the first time I've seen where we had a father-son get that award and nominate. So it's really important because it's just a statement of the fact that Todd and Sparling Construction and your Go Universal company are important asset when it comes to being able to serve veterans. And I'll let you talk more about that as well, Todd, too, on this Go Universal. It's a great program. I'm seeing a lot of veterans taking advantage of that and working with a lot of them as well, too. So that's your patriotic employer. And Jordan, Lieutenant Jordan, had to go through the online form and fill that out. In addition, we sent you the little lapel pin that you can put on there, wear with ESGR, Patriot, and then the U.S. flag as well, too. Okay, so one of the things that we require the person who's going to nominate their employer is to put a little narrative in there so that we can be able to know what it is that your supervisor did for you. And that makes it more important, because this is what Lieutenant Jordan did. He said, my employer has understood that I have been important for the North Dakota Army National Guard to fight the COVID-19 with local public health. And since August 9th, 2020, he was on, that's when he started. He was on full-time orders due to leadership experience, and it gave him a lot of leadership experience and great benefits. And that was during the COVID fight, on for six months. my employer, Sparling Construction, has understood this and has been able to take over my position as a project manager in my absence, despite having the added stress and additional hours of work. So you keep in mind, in the position you have, it's not just probably 8 hours, it's probably 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, maybe sometimes 5, 6, 7 hours a week. And when someone pops off that, someone has to take up the additional duty. And then this is great because in addition to still retaining you're still retaining the company benefits that come from Sparling when you're on mobilization for those 6 months. That's quite an honor to be able to do that. And that's what we look for in employers, to be able to talk with them, counsel with them as well, to be able to let them know that hiring a veteran is a good person to bring on, because there's so many things that they bring to the table: the discipline, the leadership, drug-free, etc. So, Jordan, thank you for nominating your father, your boss, employer, for that as well too. And then in addition, the statement of support. I know you got it already, and here you are signing it, but we recognize that the Guard and Reserve are essential, and you recognize this as well, to the strength of our nation and the well-being of our communities. We probably have over almost 4,000 men and women in the North Dakota Guard, Army and Air, and Guard and Reserve, Army Reserve, Naval Reserve, Marine Corps Reserve. And so they all realize the value that these service members place on their business. In the highest American tradition, the patriotic men and women of the Guard and Reserve serve voluntarily in an honorable and vital profession. They train to respond to their communities, whether it's state, community, flooding, COVID, whatever, and to their country in time of need. And they deserve the support from every segment of North Dakota, of which they do. If these volunteer forces are to continue to serve our nation, increased public understanding is required of the essential role of the Guard and Reserve in preserving our national security. So by signing that, Todd, we got a frame there for you. By signing the support, you pledge to fully recognize, honor, and comply with the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. That's a long word. That's the Department of Labor program, because there's benefits that, say, Jordan was deployed for a year in Iraq or Afghanistan. When he comes back, there are certain rights that he has as well to come back into his present position, et cetera. That you will provide their managers and supervisors with the tools they need to effectively manage employees who serve the Guard and Reserve. Todd, you appreciate the values, leadership, and unique skills service members bring to the workforce, and will encourage opportunities to hire Guard, Reserve, and veterans, and continue to recognize and support our country's service members and their families in peace and crisis and in war. So that's the program there. And I've just got to mention to all those that are on here, Todd and I go way back. We've ridden motorcycles together. I've known Todd and his family for many, many years. Know his mom and dad, his mom really well, who was just a great leadership as well too. And Todd, you remember when we were working out the YMCA and you'd come up to me and ask, "What's this Guard stuff about?" Okay, and I think you were talking about Jordan here when he was of that age to, make decisions to be able to choose a military career. So it's great to see that passed on as well too. So anyway. So Jordan, Lieutenant Jordan, I was going to have you put your uniform on, but you'd have to shave the beard off, right?
Couldn't decide until this morning what I was going to do. So
okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you for some comments, Jordan, and just what you were thinking when you did that. A little bit about your deployment, what it meant to you to know that your job was filled back home, took that pressure off. So the podium's yours.
Sure. So my unit got notice for August 9th that I needed to go to Minot for 2 months, and I didn't have much of a choice. They just said, basically in key leadership positions, when they're assigning that, I had to run the team out in Minot for 2 months, and maybe got to go home every other weekend, just due to planning and managing 13, 14 personnel. And then after that, it was all voluntary. After the 2 months, I decided that these were great benefits. talked with my dad about it. I wanted to go back for my master's program, and getting that 90-day requirement for Title 10 would have gotten me the GI Bill status. So they were willing to go with that. And they've always been flexible with even me right now going for my master's and working. So, and then I went to Bismarck and was put in the task force C2, and that level of requirement, I didn't know at what level I was able to be involved in the business coming back after my 2 months stint in Minot, and then realized I kept dragging it on and on. I'm like, I felt bad. I couldn't come back to my position. I already, had orders cut, and realized that he got really busy and he's losing hours of sleep as a salesman, and then wearing the second cap as a project manager. So I saw him getting burnt out and scared me, and I just really appreciate the sacrifice that these two put in while I was gone, so I could get some leadership position. And I joined the Guard not just necessarily for the benefits. I enjoyed what I did, but I'm glad to be back with the family, and this is my career. So
Excellent, Jordan. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Todd, what does this real award mean to you, receiving it, and a little bit about Jordan as well?
Well, first, I want to say thank you to all of you on this Zoom call that are involved at different levels with the Guards in leadership and serving our country, and doing this whole concept of the ESGR, which I think is amazing, recognizing not just the soldier, but like you're talking about what you guys are about here today and beyond even today, recognizing the employer, like you said, is huge. And for all this to work. I grew up in a military background. Both my grandpas were in World War II, one in the Army, one in the Navy. One in the Army saw frontline platoon leader action that he never wanted to talk about. But we have always been very pro and patriotic. We almost named our new company, Go Universal, American Boomer, because we're very patriotic, and we were thinking about the boomer, whether it's the veteran, which we deal with the Veterans Department, Veteran Affairs, and we love helping these vets. And we made a decision even on the Go Universal part, which is taking care of the disabled, the aging, the injured, whether they're young, Generation X, or the boomer. It's a ministry. And so our heart is in the right place, serving people, whether it's on the Sparling construction side or Go Universal or other company. And we're finding a lot of satisfaction in that. With all that being said, the timing wasn't the best for Jordan to be deployed going into that as we're building this second company, Go Universal. But we did it with total 100% backup of Jordan saying, do it, we support you, we'll take care of it. And I can't receive this award alone. Lindsay, my wife here, sacrificed as well during work days, evenings, picking up the slack. And also Jordan's brother, Jesse, who's in the business, he had to pick up the slack. It was a combined family effort. So even though I signed and my name's on it, this award really goes out to my family that in the office here that really did help pull it together. We're proud of Jordan. He has done extremely well, going through our TC program, graduating with high honors with his college degree. We're so proud of him going now for his master's and being a lieutenant and first lieutenant. And he just seems to be going up through the ranks, and to see him grow, like you said, Rob, when you and I talked years ago, Jordan needs something, and it was more than what I could even do as a father. And what the military has done for this young man has just been amazing, outstanding, and we're tapping into that with our companies. And he's learned to lead and how to direct, and yet he still understands the chain of command. And I can't speak enough great things about the military. But yes, we're glad to get him back and start fitting him into our growth. And he's a very key part. I forgot, Jordan reminded me that we go back a little ways with the ESGR. That in 2019, I received this award. And actually, a trip of a lifetime, got to be in a helicopter on the boss lift for supporting the guards, which I have for many years with some of our past employees. And to fly 1,500 feet above, I didn't realize North Dakota had so many lakes, absolutely gorgeous. And then to be able to do the whole thing at the camp there at Devil's Lake of the whole facility there, it was amazing. So I appreciated that. The other thing that we want to make clear is that any man or woman in uniform, we've taken care of the FBI, we've taken care of the sheriff, we've taken care of firemen, women, we've taken care of the police and guards, military of any kind. And we just really, really appreciate the freedom that we have and the service that's provided by any one of those men or women that are sacrificing not just themselves, but even their own family to take care of us lay people. It means so much. So the feelings are quite mutual, and we're quite honored to be a part of this. And just want to tell you, thank you.
Awesome. Lindsay, any comments?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, thanks for all being here. And so we want to, we got Arlen on. Arlen, you've got any comments? You're on mute there. So any comments you want to add to the Patriot Award? And then we'll turn it over to Delton.
Well, this is kind of a unique deal where we get to recognize a business, but also a family-run business, and it happens to be his dad. And we usually don't get to do this. And they hit on some key points. It takes a lot of people to support one individual when they have to leave to do guard business or reserve business, and that's really the heart of it. Is in the beginning it says we all serve, and everybody in Sparling also serves because they have to support Jordan and anybody else that's in the reserve component and has to leave. And hopefully we get back to the boss lifts. And Todd, maybe this time you can send your wife and she can get a ride this time.
That'd be great.
So and thanks, Arlen. And turn over to Delton for some comments from Minnesota.
Well, may live in Minnesota, but believe me, my heart's in North Dakota, and I know all of you know that. And I try to get back as often as I can, and hopefully when the restrictions loosen up, I can do a lot more traveling, which is the fun part of being the state chair, getting back and being in the communities and seeing our volunteers. But really, first of all, let me start here. Jordan, thanks for nominating your mom and dad. And I know it's got Todd's name on, but I know you mean it for everyone surrounding you there today and the company you worked for. So thank you for doing that, because that takes time and effort, and you're busy enough, we know, with your guard duties and also your work duties there at Sparling Construction. And then Todd, and I include Lindsay on this too, and even though her name wasn't on the award, but you know what, thank you for what you're doing to support Jordan. Just outstanding. And I tell you what, between Jordan and Todd, Rob, I think they're two very eloquent speakers. And someday, if they get any spare time, we need to round these all three of these people up and have them do some volunteer work for us or something. They're great speakers, and very sincere remarks. And you're right. This is my fourth year of being state chair, and I don't believe, well, I know that I've never seen a son nominate his dad, and that is truly very special, and that's probably not easy to do, when you have that tight of family connection. But I think it's very meaningful to be able to do that. So I don't have a lot more to add other than to say, great job. Thanks for all you're doing as a business, as a family business, and on behalf of the Department of Defense and over 3,000 volunteers like Rob and Arlen and I, and of course Jeanette, she's the one that keeps us all squared away and going the right direction. She is our professional staff person full-time, working out of Frayne Barracks there in Bismarck, and her home when she needs to. But and over 60 volunteers, ESGR volunteers in the state of North Dakota. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I look forward to meeting you someday. I hope it works out. I'm going to be actually be allowed to do, I am allowed to travel one time coming up here next week, next Friday for General Dorman's leadership conference in Bismarck. And I'm going to be allowed to do that. And that'll be great to get out and interact with a lot of the Guard and Reserve or Guard members that'll be attending that event on next Friday. And then I think there's another video conference the next day. So looking forward to that. So I will be in your fair city and looking forward to that. And anyway, thanks again to all of you. And Rob, I'll turn it back to you. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the spring. Hope business is good for you there. And I'm sure it is. So
Awesome. Well, thank you, Delton. It's always good to have you on as well on the Zoom calls. We look forward to getting back to in person too. So, okay, Todd, did you have your hand? Did you have something you wanted to?
I was just saying goodbye.
Okay, well, you bet. Thanks, guys. And Lindsay, could you send me the PDF of your Sparling and Go Universal, if you have that in a format, to email to? Because I'll put that on our Facebook site. A little bit of advertising there, and I'll link to you, Lindsay, link to Jordan as well. And that'll get some traction. You'll start get some comments from this as well too. So anyway, thanks you guys. Appreciate your time. Let's
Thank
get back
you.
to doing what you do and over here. And thanks, Jeanette, for setting this up. So take care, everyone.